Hey guys, welcome back to the D&N Medical Series. It's your girl Nikki, and today I'm back with another video helping you guys with your UWI application forms. If you're not yet a subscriber, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn our post notification bell on so you can get an update every time we have a new release. And if you want more UWI content, check out our UWI Mona playlist, all about UWI Mona playlist, and you get lots more information from registration, payment plan, straight down to tuition letters, timetables. Everything you need is there in our All About UWI Mona playlist. So the financial questionnaire form is super important. So this shows the university if you can pay your tuition or not. And they look at this form to give you a space in the program. So if you cannot complete this form adequately, it's a possibility that you won't get accepted because they need you to pay your tuition in order for you to get accepted. So I'm just going to run it through with you today, as well as show you guys my estimated budget that I created for you guys for 6 different groups. And if you fall under any group, this is what your average tuition will look like yearly. So just the general instruction that you should know. Listen carefully. I'm going to read them out for you. And AR number 1 says, please read the instructions carefully before completing the questionnaire and answer all relevant questions. B says, to complete questionnaire must be submitted to the admission section. So you're supposed to submit this form physically, whether through the mail, if you're international, I don't know where you're from, but if you're in Jamaica or wherever parish, you need to submit it to the admission section at UWI. If you're an international student, you can call the admission section and ask them what should you do in this case, the fact that you can't physically come into the office, and see if they take it via the mail, the post, FedEx, whatever. Just call admission and ask them about that in that case. But if you're Jamaican, you need to submit this form physically. Very important form. C says all applicants must complete all relevant sections of this questionnaire. That's in bold, so this must be done. And D says in areas that does not apply to you, you put a not applicable. And all reference for E, all reference to the fees below include like the cost of the tuition, the miscellaneous fees, the books, the meal, lodgings, and other maintenance costs. You should put your reference. So if you're not going to pay it for yourself, you know you have to put your parents is going to put this, or this loan agency is going to put that, etc. with proof. So when the income figures are required, you're required to put your gross annual income. So you're putting this on a yearly basis. So how much this would cost on a yearly basis for you. Not like, oh, it's $30,000 a month for food and you put 30. You're going to multiply that $30,000 a month for food times 12 for the 12 months of the year, which is about $360,000. So you're going to put it grossly on a yearly basis. And then for G says all income, whether yours or financial providers, must be verified. And in order to verify, these are some methods. You can get a letter from your employer if you're employed and paying your own tuition. You can bring in your last 3 pay slips, letter from the Justice of the Peace in case of self-employed person, so you have your own business, and current audit accounts from business owners. So if these apply to you, these are the reference you're going to bring to them to show, yes, I can pay my tuition, these are my sources, this is what I'm going to use. So as regards to the statement of financial resources, I'm also going to read this for you guys. So personal savings or employment. So if you're personally employed for yourself, and if you intend to meet your financial obligation using proceeds from your employment or your personal savings, you need to provide documentation that proves you have sufficient resources to do so. So acceptable documentation includes, alongside with the 7 things that we just discussed above, You need to bring, if you're paying for yourself from your savings or employment, you need to bring a certified bank statement or a similar certified statement from a financial institution where you have deposited, you have a deposit account in your name. A letter of commitment from your employer stating dollar value of employer's sponsorship. So if somebody is sponsoring you there, if it's from your account, you need that bank account statement to say this is what I have and this is what I'm going to pay, or this is how I'm going to pay it if you're paying for yourself. If you have family contribution, so if your parents or any other family member is paying for you, they will have to provide you with a certified bank statement just the same, or a similar certified statement from the financial institution where the family member holds a deposit account in or their investments in their name. So everything that you bring forth, they need verification to say yes, this is legit and these persons have this amount of money and they can afford to pay this. If you're taking student loans, if you have applied for student loans or pay your fees, you're required to submit either a receipt or some other form of documentation to proving that a loan application has been made on your behalf. Or you can get a letter of commitment from the lending institution stating the dollar value of the loan. Say, for instance, you're borrowing student loan, they're giving you $1 million. You can get a letter of commitment, or you can give them what they require, the receipt or so, to prove that they're going to give you a loan. As regards to awards, if you have received a scholarship, the bursary or other form of non-loan financial support from the donors, they must provide, this is a donor now, they must provide a letter of commitment from the donor stating the dollar value and the duration of the award. Say, for instance, you got a scholarship from the ministry or wherever you got a scholarship from, they need to write a letter to say, so and so Nikisha Bryan got a scholarship of $300,000 from the Ministry of Education, and this lasts for a year, or this lasts for 2 years, or this lasts for the entirety of the study. The commitment letter must state that, and you take that up with the institution that is giving you a scholarship or an award. And for other, in spaces provided, please provide a detailed statement indicating the source of your funding. And please note, as we said before, that documentary evidence will have to be provided. So you're not going to just put, oh, scholarship 300,000. You have to provide who gave you that scholarship, how much is it, the duration, bring the commitment letter. If a family is going to contribute someone, you can't just put $500,000 from my mother. Your mother has to bring or give you a certified bank statement or the other thing listed above to show that they indeed have this $500,000 that they're going to contribute to you. So now let's look at the form. So this is what the form looks like. Just going to scroll down so you guys see the entirety of the form. So this is the entirety of the form. You guys are supposed to be pretty familiar with it, and I'm going to go through it with you guys as well as the budget area. And if you're not familiar with this form, you can just Google the UWI Financial Questionnaire, and the first thing comes up is a PDF with this document. You print it and you fill it out, etc. So yeah. So let's go through each section with you quickly. So first, name. You put your name, Nikisha Bryan, your ID number. If you say, for instance, you're applying and you don't get an ID number yet, or if you're a current student and you have an ID number, you put it there. If you don't have an ID number, you know you're going to put not applicable as they stated above. You're going to put your TRN number, and FT/PT means full-time or part-time. So if you're going to be a full-time student, you put FT. If you're going to be a part-time student, you put part-time. So how do you plan to pay your fees? So it says select applicable options. It didn't say option, not one. You don't have to select only one. You can select different options, and you're going to provide details below. So if you're going to pay your tuition through personal savings or employment, you're going to tick that. If you're going to use family contribution, you're going to tick that. You're going to get awards or scholarship, you tick that, and any other sources that you're going to get money from, you're going to tick that as well. You can tick all four if all four applies to you, to show that you have more money to cover whichever. But again, you have to show proof that these things are actually going to be covered by these different persons. So the next thing says, please provide details of how you plan to pay your tuition. So personal savings. So you need to provide a documentary evidence of income, example, the commitment letter from your employer, as we stated above. So if you're paying from your personal statement, I discussed that. And then, are you employed? You're going to say yes or no, whether you're employed or not. And if you're employed, please state your grossly monthly income. So how much money you get per month. You're going to state that right there. So pretty simple and easy to follow. So as in regards to this section now, section B is the annual expenses right here. If you can see all the annual expense, you're going to give them a list of tuition fees, book and supplies, accommodation, food, clothing, transportation, and other major expenses, and you're going to give them a total expense. So you're basically making a budget for yourself of how much you're going to spend on the yearly basis. So this is annually, on a yearly basis. So this is what I created the budget for you guys. So in order to complete section B, I'm going to show you guys the budget that I created for the individual groups. Then we're going to come back to section C to discuss that. But let's look at section B right now. Okay, because I like you guys so much, I did all this work. It was pretty taxing and pretty time consuming, but I like you guys, so I did it anyway. So I separated into full fee students as well as sponsored students. So what is sponsored versus full fee students? So full fee students are students who pay US $28,000 annually for tuition. Sponsored students pay roughly 28,000 US dollars, right? And sponsored students in Jamaican dollars now pay roughly $700,000 for tuition yearly. And as I said before, these are all estimated costs. Do not jump to go to you to tell them that Nikki told me that the tuition is this and I'm going to pay this. These are estimated costs and it's a budget. See the title, estimated budget, to show you what your expenses may look like on a yearly basis, whether you're a full fee student, sponsored students, and whether your living accommodation changes. So these two comparisons here is whether you're a full fee student living on hall or you're a sponsored student living on hall. So here I have the expense. I add tuition fee plus miscellaneous fee. So that's miscellaneous is basically your insurance, so you can use the health center, the pharmacy, etc. for free. So you have to pay that. And basically the service, your insurance at you, that's your miscellaneous. So that's like roughly $20,000. So it's cheaper if you're off campus and than on campus. So off campus usually pay in 2021 about $17,000 or $15,000 for miscellaneous. So people who live on campus pay 20 to 22. So I just put an estimated price for both of them. I didn't separate them where they're off or on campus. It's like a couple $3,000 difference. So it didn't make much of a difference. So I may just put it as a $20,000. So tuition plus the miscellaneous fee for $20,000 for full fee students is $4.3 million 20,000. Books and supplies, I put the same books and supply amount for all of them. So about roughly $50,000 if you're a book person. And when I think about supply, I think about like pens, papers, your clipboard, whichever you want to use, in school. I put that there. Folders, etc. For accommodation, you're living on hall, I put the estimated cost about $250,000 annually. There are halls that are more expensive and there may be halls that are cheaper. I just put this as an estimated cost for a specific hall. So, it will fluctuate based on the hall that you choose, etc., etc. And for food, I put here $360,000 for the year. And this is where I spend, say, for instance, $30,000 on food per month. And that's 30 times 12 for the entire year. That is like $360,000. So that's what I put. And for both of them, as you can see, For clothing, I put at $10,000. I was thinking in my head, you don't usually buy clothes for university per se. You'd basically wear the clothes that you have, you know. So I just put at $10,000 just in case you want to have a hot girl summer and buy up some Crocs or buy some shoes or buy some, you know, some nice jackets or buy from our merchandise store at the D&N Medical Series. And yeah, so if you want to buy our merch, check that out and you put that under your clothing expenses. So the next one is field trip. So usually you don't usually go on much of a field trip, and if you do go on field trip, the school bus is there to take you. But I just put a $5,000 just in case, you know, you want to buy some food when you go, and if and when you go, etc. And for other expenses that they have there, it's your choice. So what else do you think you're going to need for university? You have your tuition, your books, your living, you have food, you have clothes and transportation. Uh, what else do you need is your choice. So here you see for me transportation I put $0 because you live on hall. So that's a differentiating factor. You live on hall, so you walk to your classes, you walk to the different lecture theaters, you don't take any transportation. So that's the 0 there. Okay, so for the full fee students living on hall, your total estimated expenses $4,995,000. And as I said before, it can fluctuate based on your individual expenses. As a sponsored student living on hall, your estimated cost is $1,395,000. So you can use this. If this applies to you, you can adjust my budget and do what you want to fill out your form. I'm going to now move on to the different full fee students and sponsored students that live with their family. Okay, so the next category is full fee student living with your family or sponsored student living with your family. So you live at home. So you're from Kingston or you're from close to Kingston and you can travel to school daily. So as you can see, the tuition fee for both sponsored and full fee student remain the same. Your book supply remain the same, but your accommodation becomes 0 because you're not paying rent, you're not living on campus. So you're traveling to school. So I'm thinking to myself that you're going to need some lunch, you need some food. So I estimated the cost like $700 per day for lunch. So I multiplied $700 by 5. You come to school 5 times per day. I got 3,500 and multiplied that by 4 for 4 weeks in a month. I got $14,000 per month. I multiplied that by 12 and I get basically $168,000 for food or lunch when you travel to school. Same thing I put here. So you know that will fluctuate depending on how much your lunch costs. I was just putting a small estimated cost of a $700 lunch per day. Clothing remained the same. And another thing that changed was the transportation. You no longer live on campus, so you're not walking to school. If you basically live close to school and you can walk, kudos to you. This doesn't apply to you, but if you have to take transportation, I estimated this for like $72,000 because I at present now the fare is like roughly $150 to a specific place. Say for instance, I said $150 to $150 from, so that's like $300 per day for transportation. Multiply that by 5 for the 5 days, I got $1,500. Multiply that by 4 for the entire month, and that's $6,000. And then I multiply that month by 12 for 70 to get $72,000 for the year for transportation at an estimated cost of $300 you're paying in transportation. Increases if you're paying more, decreases if you're paying less. So for the full fee student who is living with their family at home, I got their total expense to be about $4,625,000. For the sponsored student living at home with their family, I got the total expense being $1,025,000 basically. So now we're going to jump onto the other group. Right, so the last two groups I'm talking about are the full fee students who are off campus or renting a house, and the sponsored students were off campus and renting a house as their accommodation. So tuition fee and book supply remains the same throughout. I put the same off campus or renting fee for $250,000, but you know this can fluctuate based on the area that you rent or the cost of the house that you rent, etc. So it can be more, it can be less based on what you cost. So as I said, this is an estimated budget. I put food for $360,000 again. And how I got this, you're basically living on your own. So I just mentioned that I paid, like, say for instance, $30,000 per month for grocery, and I multiply that by 12 for the 12 months of the year, and that's $360,000. So food, when you're living on your own, becomes this now. Clothing, etc., remains the same. And another thing is that when you're renting, you have to travel to school. Some people rent in the vicinity of the campus, so you can just walk to school. The transportation wouldn't apply to you in this case. But if it's a case where you live a distance from school and you have to pay a taxi or you have to call a cab, etc., the transportation cost would apply to you, and it's the same $72,000, and the other things basically are the same. So for a full fee students living off campus or renting a house, your total expense is $5,067,000. If you're a sponsored student and you're living off campus or you're renting a house, your total expense is estimated $1,467,000. So those are the 6 groups. So if you fall into any of these groups, you can just adjust my budget to your personal thing to just help you fill out the form easier. So you know you're not using rocket science or brainstorming too much what this might cost and so on. So this is me helping out you guys because you guys are cool and I like you. Okay, so for the final thing today, I'll be taking you guys through section C. So this is basically annual source of funds. So you're going to show them based on the budget that you created, you're going to show the university how you're paying for this. So based on the budget that I just showed you, say for instance you are a full fee students who is off campus. So I live off campus. So I'm a full student living off campus. So the average thing is about 5,095,000. I can't recall if that was the exact budget that I had, but it's somewhere in that sort. So family contribution, you're going to be okay. So my family is going to contribute $3 million to my tuition. So if it's your mother, your father, you're going to put their names there. Or if it's yourself, you're going to put your name, their address, your telephone number, and your email address. So you're not going to just put this and leave it and say, oh, they're going to cover it. Remember, you're going to bring your sources. So you're going to bring the bank statements, you're going to bring the pay slips, etc., etc., that are required to support this $3 million that is going to be paid by you or your family. So $3 million is a student loan bureau. So if you're a sponsored student, as I discussed, you pay the estimated $700,000 per year, along with miscellaneous fees, etc. The student loan bureau will cover your entire $700,000 tuition. So if you're a sponsored student and you apply for student loan, they will pay the entire tuition for the entire 5 years if you're in medical school. So apply for that student loan if you don't have the money. They will cover it for you. If you are a full fee student currently, student loan pays like $1 million towards your tuition. And this is like 2021, 2022 now. It may change. So in order to find this information, this correct information or up-to-date information, you can call the student loan bureau to ask them how much they pay now. But currently they pay only $1 million of your total tuition yearly. So if they pay $1 million, you know, you'd have $4 million to think about. So you're going to put how much student loan is paying. If you're a sponsored student, you're going to put the entire 700, and student loan does not pay your miscellaneous fee. You're going to pay that for yourself. So you know the extra $20,000, you're going to pay that. So you're going to put the tuition. That's the only thing the student loan would pay is $700,000. If you're a full fee student, you're going to put the $1 million because student loan only cover $1 million if you're a full fee student. So if you're a full fee student, and so you would have $4 million left if you're living off campus. I'm using that as an example. You can put other government assistance. Say for instance, you're gonna get an assistance from the government or somewhere, maybe your MP, somebody, any other government assistance, you're going to put the sum there, and you're going to bring your reference to show the commitment letter that this person is going to give me $1,000,000, this government institution or wherever is going to give me $1,000,000. So student loan give me 1 million, this government assistance give me, like, say for instance 500,000, that's 1.5. So out of my 5, I have $3.5 million left. I have no contribution from family yet. So for other loans, you're going to put, if you're going to take a bank loan, or so, you're going to put the amount that you're going to get there. And you're going to bring your references just the same. For scholarship now, you may not know the scholarships that you're going to get. So what I do here for scholarship, you apply for the scholarship, I'd put so and so. I'm not calling out any scholarship name. We have a scholarship video if you want to know the different scholarships, and you can just check that out as you finish watching this video. I just don't want to use any business organization in the video or call their name out. So say for instance a scholarship is going to give you $1,000,000 or $500,000, etc. You're going to put that there, and you're going to get your what you call it, your commitment letter from that scholarship, and fill out the other information. And other thing you're going to specify. So any other person that is giving you money, any other business that is giving you money, you're going to put it there. So let's jump as you see how someone can pay their $5 million tuition per year if you're a full fee student and you're living off campus. So family contribution, say family contribute about $3 million for you for the year. You're left with 2 million. Student loan covers 1 million, so you're left with, that's $4 million being covered for you. And then other loans, you have 1 million to go because you covered 4 with student loan and your family. You have others loan, you apply for scholarship, so you're trying to source that $1 million scholarship. The bursary, basically, if you're from a contributing country like Jamaica, we have a list of contributing Caribbean countries. I can drop them in the description bar. You can apply for the bursary where the university usually would pay half your full fee tuition. So say for instance you're paying $4.3 million, you'd pay half of that because the school will cover, or the bursary will cover the remaining half. So let me check what half of $4.3 million is again. So $4.3 million, half of that is about $2,150,000. The school, the bursary at the school would cover that for you. But remember that the bursary is not automatic. It's something that you apply for just the same. And this, I'm speaking of 2021-2022 period. This may be different in the upcoming year. You need to call admission, call the bursary, call SAS to find out if this still applies. I'm talking about my time, what happened in my time, and telling you guys about that. So again, family contributes 3 million. If you're 5, you're paying the 5 million. Student loan 1 million. Other government assistance or other loans and other scholarship can contribute another million for you to cover that tuition per year, and the same thing repeat per year. So you don't know how much you're going to get in scholarship or bursary, so you could just put pending. So the sum, you can put an estimated cost, etc., etc. You can put where the estimated cost that scholarship would give or the bursary would give, and you can put pending, so and so, to let them know that you have applied for this, etc., etc. But don't just leave it blank. You can put something there. Even I'd put under here, say for instance it's at 10,000, they're giving me a $500,000, I'd put pending, because if you have not received the scholarship yet, it is pending. So as in regards, say for instance a full fee student who got the bursary now, you are only paying $2,150,000 out of the full fee. So family contribution, say family contribute 1 million, student loan contribute another million, you'd only need $150,000, and you can source that through scholarship, other loans, etc., and whatever applies to you. And a key thing to know that the bursary only applies to people who have full fee expensive. If you're a sponsored student, you will not get the bursary. So bursary is just for full fee. And basically you just need to, as I said before, just need to show them that you can cover whatever you said in your annual expenses. So you're not going to put an entire 5 million over here and you know that you're going to put only 1 million here. So that disparity can really throw off your application. So you're going to put the tuition fees, etc., put the things that you can't change. So put your tuition fee, accommodation. You don't have to live on hall, so you can put the 0 there. Put your tuition. As regards to food, you can say you live at home with family, so you're not purchasing food, etc. You bring lunch to school, so you don't have to put a lot of money there. So you're not going to, overprice yourself. Then you come over here and you cannot fulfill that. So you can put the least money as possible for your personal expenses like transportation, clothing, food, living expenses, etc. But the things that won't change is the tuition fee and basically the only thing that is mandatory that you cannot change or you cannot manipulate here is basically your tuition fee. So you put your tuition fee there. Everything else you put it as the smallest amount as possible that you think you can cover. Anything applies to you, you put it there. And you come over here and you show them how you're going to tackle this tuition fee. Do not put 4.3 million here and come over here to say, oh, I only have $500,000. That can affect your application. So at the end of that, you put your total expense and your total source of funding and how much you're getting, and they're going to compare it to say, all right, he had 4.3, she had 4.3 here, and based on her expenses that she calculated, she put 4 million or she put 4.5 million for the total source of funds she's going to get that year, etc., etc. Scholarship and bursary, as I said, you can put pending there, put the sum, put pending to let them know that you applied for that scholarship, etc. But always get your proof, get your verification. That's the key thing here. Get your verification, get your sources to say, these are the persons paying for me, and that's how you're going to get accepted, guys. You cannot just put it and leave it blank and they expect the money to fall out of thin air. So put your verification. Those are very important. And then you're going to come here, sign your applicant's signature and the date in that format. So it says, I will pay the required fee to the University of the West Indies Mona campus as required by the regulation. I am aware that the university reserves the right to cancel course registration if I do not meet my financial obligation within the agreed period. So you're basically signing that contract, sign your name there, sign it and put your date there based on what you fill out on your form to show that if you basically get enrolled and you do get accepted, and when September morning comes, you cannot pay the tuition, you're basically saying the university can deregister you because you have not fulfilled your commitment to the university, you have not paid your fees. So basically, guys, that's it for this video. I gave you guys quite some good information on how to complete the form as well as how to successfully get accepted based on the comparison between your annual expense and your annual source of fund. Remember, do not put no big disparity here because they can look at that and say, this person can't cover the tuition. I cannot give them an acceptance. So you know what to do. As I said, the only thing mandatory is your tuition fee. So manipulate everything else to a price that you can manage and do that. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Share this with a friend who may need the same help as you. Oh, and if you have any question, don't forget to drop them in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to the D&N Medical Series on YouTube. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at DN_Medical Series. Until next time, see you soon. Bye.